It was like, did I mean anything?
And Ken had overheard Ryan yelling at me through the phone. And then Ryan started texting me. I looked at my phone, and Ken is like, what is he saying? And I handed Ken my phone. He read the text, and Ken got a little upset because Ryan was out of pocket.
Yeah, I am. I'm moving on, guys. Last night, I will tell y'all this, when I saw that clip of the things she said and where they made me seem creepy for texting her.
It got aggressive, back and forth in an argument. Once Ken cooled down, he's like, I shouldn't have said all that stuff. And I was like, it's okay. You were upset. You were being protective.
He's like, guess what I found out today? I said, what? She's been talking about since late February. I'm like, oh.
A lot has happened.
Imagine being in love with someone whose entire life has been built on lies. Someone who the world knows for one of the most disturbing cases of manipulation and deceit. You think you're their savior, offering them the love and support they never had. But over time, you start to see the cracks. And suddenly, the person you thought you knew turns out to be just as manipulative as the world has claimed. This is the heart-wrenching story of Ryan Anderson, a man who fell for gypsy-rose Blanchard, and how his life unraveled as she moved on to build a new one with someone else.
Are you happy?
Yes. I don't know why you think I'm not. All of a sudden, now you're not.
Maybe I'm not. There's just sometimes that I feel like we're different people.
Ryan Anderson isn't just some guy in Gypsy's past. He was there during one of the darkest periods of her life. Gypsy, notorious for her involvement in the 2015 murder of her mother, Didi Blanchard, managed to escape her mother's control, but the emotional damage left behind led her down a path of further manipulation. Ryan became the next victim in a series of emotional entanglements, and his suffering is something most people can't even begin to imagine.
The matching tattoos broke my heart. It was like, did I mean anything? I never treat you like an idiot. I never have. You know, I get mad when people treat you like that.
I know, and you were starting to act like them.
Ryan began dating Gypsy while she was still in prison. He believed her story, her traumatic past with Didi, and her desperate need to escape that nightmare. In Ryan's mind, he was the one person who truly understood Gypsy.
You know, people call her the master manipulator. It wasn't that. It was the other way around in that relationship with her ex. It was the other way around. She was manipulated.
I was there when no one else was, Ryan said during a TikTok live on August 6, 2024.
Who cares? Who cares? I mean, who cares? It's over. I mean, who cares? It's just funny to me that she forgot the real dude that was there for her.
His devotion to her was unshakable. He sent her money for commissary, supported her emotionally, and even helped with legal fees. He poured his heart into helping her rebuild her life after the trauma Didi inflicted. But was Gypsy using him from the start? At first, their relationship seemed like a story of healing and redemption. Ryan was there to pick up the pieces of a life shattered by abuse. But as the months went by, he started noticing signs that maybe things weren't as they seemed. I thought I was helping her rebuild her life, Ryan admitted.
My mind is piecing things together. I feel confident knowing that I was genuine and my intentions were pure.
But in reality, it became clear that Gypsy hadn't left her manipulative tendencies behind. The emotional strain on Ryan began to show long before he publicly spoke about it. He tried to be patient, understanding, and supportive, believing that Gypsy needed time to heal. But Gypsy's erratic behavior and disappearing acts became more frequent. As Ryan recalled in his TikTok live, "You've got to realize, I am going through a divorce. It sucks. No one really knows what it was like to be there for her when no one else was, and then being blamed for everything."
I love that people tell me to get over it and things like that. Like, okay, yeah, I understand. But you gotta realize, like, I'm going through a divorce. Like, we're going through a divorce, and you know, it is what it is. And I haven't talked to her in a while. I haven't. I've chosen not to. I've chosen not to. So I decided where I was just like, I don't it doesn't benefit me anymore.
It wasn't just a breakup. It was the collapse of a relationship he had poured everything into. Ryan began to feel as though Gypsy was intentionally pushing him away, accusing him of things he didn't make sense. At one point, she even compared him to her abusive mother, Didi. "You are no better than my mom," Gypsy allegedly told Ryan.
In line with Gypsy, like, I want her to live her life, and I don't want to be a controlling husband, and I'm not. But it's one of those things that if I say something that a normal husband would say, then I'm like controlling her and I'm like her mother. And it's like, whoa, that's not fair.
Can you imagine the devastation of being compared to the very person who manipulated and abused the woman you love? Ryan had spent every waking moment trying to be the opposite of Didi, to prove that he wasn't controlling Gypsy. But as he opened up during his live stream, it became clear that Gypsy knew exactly how to use her trauma to manipulate Ryan's emotions. She knew how to push every button, he said.
I just don't think it's a good idea.
Why?
Because I don't
Because
want
you know
I don't want to give you false hope.
false hope.
Even this call is giving you false hope.
Clearly frustrated, the cycle of emotional manipulation took its toll on Ryan, leaving him feeling trapped and powerless.
It's like, did I mean anything? Did I mean anything?
What's worse is that Gypsy wasn't done with her manipulation. While Ryan was trying to figure out how to fix things, Gypsy was already planning her next move. Enter Ken Acker, the man who is now engaged to her. Ryan's world was shattered when he found out about Gypsy's new relationship. It's funny, Ryan remarked during his live,
Ken versus Ryan poll? No, I ain't got time to waste on that, dude.
"She misses me 1 minute, but then she's out there giving Ken a promise ring and living a completely different life."
Yes, Gypsy did call me and told me she missed me. Yes, like, that's legit. That video's old, though, guys. That video's old. Like, that was in June. That video's old.
Gypsy's quick transition into her relationship with Ken was a slap in the face for Ryan, who had been by her side through some of the most challenging moments in her life. For Ryan, it wasn't just about Gypsy moving on. It was about how quickly she seemed to erase their entire relationship. How do you cope with being erased from someone's life as if you never existed? Ryan's pain was evident as he opened up about how deeply this betrayal cut him. To make matters worse, rumors began to swirl that Gypsy might be pregnant, and Ryan was left wondering if he could be the father. While Gypsy and Kane were planning their future, Ryan was left questioning whether he might still be tied to her forever. They have done reveal parties and all this stuff, but imagine if I was the dad. That would be crazy, Ryan said in his TikTok live, clearly struggling with the possibility. I mean, they've already set up their lives like it's a done deal.
I got a thought. Wouldn't that be, like, so, like, embarrassing if I was the dad? That would be embarrassing because they've done reveal parties, they've done all this stuff. That would be crazy if I was the dad. Like, that would be crazy. Like, I would love to see the egg on their face, just be like.
Imagine the emotional strain of not only being discarded, but also wondering if you could be connected to the person who discarded you for the rest of your life. For Ryan, the uncertainty about the paternity of Gypsy's child was just another layer of emotional torment. But Gypsy's manipulation didn't stop with Ryan. Her stepmother, Tristy, also played a role in complicating Ryan's emotional state. During his live stream, Ryan shared how he had to reach out to Tristy on Gypsy's behalf, only to be ignored. I've got texts from back in the day where I was texting Tristy like, "Hey, Gypsy's been calling you for 2 weeks and you haven't been in touch with her," Ryan revealed. For Ryan, dealing with Tristy was like fighting a losing battle. He was caught in a toxic dynamic where he felt like no one in Gypsy's life was being honest with him. "I blame her for a lot," Ryan said, clearly frustrated with Tristy's involvement. She's conniving, manipulating, worse than Gypsy sometimes.
Why don't I like Christy? Like, honestly? Like, did somebody really just ask me that question? Why don't I like Christy? Really? Have many reasons not to like her. She, yeah, I blame her for a lot. I blame her a lot. You know, she knew what she was doing. Like, she's conniving and manipulating worse.
What's it like being pulled into a relationship where not just your partner, but even their family is playing a role in manipulating you? Ryan's story shows just how deep the dysfunctional ran in Gypsy's world. Meanwhile, Gypsy had moved on to Ken, and the world watched as she seemed to be creating a new life with him. Ryan couldn't help but wonder if Ken was just the next victim in Gypsy's long line of manipulations. I don't know the guy, but if he thinks he's different, well, good luck. Ryan said during his live stream, reflecting on Gypsy's ability to use people. In an article from The Mirror, a source close to the situation revealed, Gypsy's ability to manipulate those close to her remains as sharp as ever. It's hard not to wonder how long it will be before Ken finds himself in the same position Ryan is now. Emotionally devastated, confused, and wondering how everything went so wrong. For Ryan, cutting off contact with Gypsy was the only way to preserve his sanity. I choose not to talk to her anymore, he said, trying to make peace with the situation. It doesn't benefit me. I can't keep doing this. It's toxic. But even though he's distanced himself, the emotional scars run deep. Ryan admitted in his live stream that moving on hasn't been easy. I gave everything and now I've got nothing to show for it. As Gypsy continues to build her life with Ken, the question remains, will Ken eventually find himself in Ryan's position? Or has Gypsy finally changed? How many more people will she hurt before her web of manipulation finally unravels? And what about Ryan? Can he ever truly heal from the emotional damage Gypsy caused? Or will the scars of this toxic relationship stay with him forever? Only time will tell.